Yo, what's going on, guys? And we are here with my NBA free agency day one grades. This is all from day one. The last signing that I had on here was Shemi Ojale to the Milwaukee Bucks. So if there's been anything after this, that will be in my day two. But I've made like 15 videos today, guys. So before we start today's video, I want to hear your lovely comments down below. What did you guys think were the best not trades, but signings? God. But let's get right into today's video. I will show you guys what I've graded for each team. This is every team that has done a signing. It could be one signing, just re-signing a player. It could be anything. And this is what I've given them. So we'll go team by team, page by page, and talk about it. So let's get right into today's video. The Miami Heat are the winner of this year's day one free agency. Look, they brought back Dwayne Dedmon, who was the best backup center in all of basketball. He was getting 70% of his field goals, okay? Hitting 70%. That's ridiculous. And he was legitimately a walking double-double. At points, he had multiple games where he was playing like under 20 minutes, and he had in 15 minutes 11 points and 10 rebounds. And he was getting blocks. Dwayne Dedmon literally just took less money to be back in a situation where he balled out. Then they brought in PJ Tucker. Okay, this team was amazing with Jay Crowder, and they upgrade. They got PJ Tucker, who I think is still at the same level Jay Crowder's at, but I think he's better. He's an NBA champion, okay? And he's like, PJ Tucker's perfect off the bench. They'll run small ball of Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker, and then probably Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero. God, that's amazing. And they kept Duncan Robinson. This got me thinking that they're probably not keeping Kendrick Nunn. And they brought back Max Strus. And I think, tell me if I said that. Strus? Is that how you say it? Tell me down below. Enunciation. And they got rid of Precious Achiuwa, who, cool. They brought in PJ Tucker, who's better than what Precious Achiuwa would be next year, okay? And I think Precious Achiuwa is a good player, but they got rid of Dragic and Precious Achiuwa and brought in PJ Tucker and Kyle Lowry to replace Goran Dragic and Precious Achiuwa. That's some good moves right there. The Knicks, they brought back the three most important players of this year's run, which was Derrick Rose, Nerlens Noel, and Al Burks. Okay, Al Burks is their scorer off the bench, lightning great at shooting threes. Lightning when he shoots threes. Derrick Rose, their sixth man, the man that really was the key cog in the machine to push them into the playoffs besides Julius Randle. And then they get themselves a starting shooting guard, okay? It's going to be next year, Derrick Rose, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle. And to start the year, Nerlens Noel. Then when Mitchell Robinson comes back and shakes off the rust and gets reinserted in the starting lineup, Nerlens Noel will be a $10.7 million a year backup. So my question there is, they're either going to trade Noel at the trade deadline or trade Mitchell Robinson at the deadline. If they trade Noel, it's because they're extending Robinson and they're using Noel and his contract to get a player of similar, contract that could be more worthwhile for them, because Norvel Pelle is still on their roster, and I thought he wasn't bad. Then the Phoenix Suns get their backup center that they needed in JaVale McGee, who's great. 15 minutes off the bench to give some DeAndre Ayton some minutes of breather. Great. And he can play more during blowouts. I think Chris Paul was a little, yes, it's a 4-year, it's $30 million a year. I thought they were going to do the 2+1, okay? Doesn't seem like there's options on this deal, so that's why I gave them a B-. And they brought back Cameron Payne for a cheap deal. I just didn't think locking up 4 years of Chris Paul, okay, he's going to be 40 at the end of this contract. So I thought they were going to do 2 years +1, a 3-year deal with a player option in the third year. Lakers, come on, give them a round of applause. They brought in Trevor Ariza, who won an NBA championship with them. They brought back Dwight Howard, who won an NBA championship with them. They bring in Kent Bazemore, who's a phenomenal 3D. They also have a 3D in Trevor Ariza. Then Wayne Ellington, they brought back, who played for them during their bad years. And Wayne Ellington's a great shooter. This is exactly what they needed. Russell Westbrook will be the point guard. LeBron will be the power forward. Anthony Davis will be the center. Dwight Howard will back him up with Marcus Gasol. Then at power forward, you can run either Trevor Ariza backing up LeBron, and they also have players on this roster that I think this is gonna be good, and they'll bring back. Hopefully, they can bring back maybe Ben McLemore and Markieff Morris to be the backup power forward, and I think another guy would have been nice is I'm blanking on his name right now, and I can't even think of it. Markieff Morris, Ben McLemore, Dion Waiters, all those guys on minimums. I mean, Ish Smith to replace Alex Caruso. who Alex Caruso signed a 4-year, $37 million deal with the Chicago Bulls. Great job by the Bulls. Caruso is probably going to be their sixth man, or maybe Kobe White's going to be their sixth man, but Caruso and White will run the second unit, which I love the idea. That just gets me a little hard. And Tomas Stamkos and Garrett Temple is the only in a second round pick for Lonzo Ball on a 4-year, only 20. That's basically 21.25 a year. Great deal. Reggie Bullock, yes, it's a little bit much for my taste. 3 years, 30.5. That's like 10.125 a year or something, or 1.133 or something. That's a lot in my opinion. I didn't give the Cavs a grade right here. I'm gonna give them a C+. Look, you should have signed and traded Jared Allen. I don't like the fit of Evan Mobley. Like, Evan Mobley's a power forward. He's going to play the Anthony Davis role, but he should start out as a center because he doesn't have a jump shot. Once he figures out that, moving to power forward for few years, then moving back to center, kind of like how Anthony Davis has done. I don't know. You could have signed and traded Jared Allen to like the Raptors and gotten some players. Portland Trailblazers get a B-. Yes, they brought in Cody Zeller, which, all right. Back up Yusuf Nurkic, okay. And they brought back Norman Powell, which we were expecting, but how's this helping Damian Lillard not leave Portland? Mike Muscala, he's a stretch 4. They want shooting, and yes, he's really not a rebounder, and this is going to continue to push my narrative that I believe the Oklahoma City Thunder aren't going to play basketball with a real center, even though they have Derek Favors and Mike Muscala being 6'10 and 6'11 now. I'm still going to push for this narrative. They're not going to play with a traditional center. The Spurs bring in Zach Collins and Doug McDermott. I'm still expecting them to sign Kelly Oubre and Lauri Markkanen, or one of those two guys, to this. I love Zach Collins because he looks like he could do everything Jokic Poeltl does on defense, but also he looks like he's going to be a way better offensive player. It just needs to depend on if he can stay healthy. Chip England will fix that three-point shot. They're literally getting in Zach Collins, a 3-year deal, a guy who's getting about 7.33 a year, to potentially be a better rim protector, a better interior defender than Jokic Poeltl, and a way better offensive player. And imagine that Zach Collins starting, Jokic Poeltl back him up, and Zach Collins has the potential to stretch the floor. Toronto, they bring back Gary Trent Jr., which is awesome. They get an A- for this because they bring in Precious Achiuwa. So if Chris Boucher does leave, Precious Achiuwa could replace him. Precious Achiuwa could actually be a center. Okay? And they bring in Goran Dragic to go with Malachi Flynn, Fred VanVleet in the backcourt and help smooth things over. Philadelphia, I'm changing this to a C-. A C. I love Furkan Korkmaz and they needed shooting, but they missed out on everything right now so far. They didn't get anybody, okay? And they could have gone some shooters, some depth guys, but they didn't. They really haven't changed their roster. Pistons, look, they bring in Trey Lyles, cheap guy who can, spread the floor, space the floor, and play some all-right defense, can have some switchability. He's kind of a bust from what he was. Was he a lottery pick or the 17th pick? He's just kind of becoming a journeyman, which is a good stretch for. Corey Joseph they bring back, and he's a guy who's a good backup point guard. He's great. He'll help Killian Hayes and Cade Cunningham. Kelly Olynyk, 19 points, 54% from the field, 39% from 3, 8.5 rebounds, a few assists a game, a block a game, a steal a game, basically, for the Rockets. Kelly Olynyk's going to be a beast next to Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq Bey, and Killian Hayes and Cade Cunningham. That's great. Then Devontae Graham to the New Orleans Pelicans. I really like that. They only gave up a first-round pick. Yes, it's lottery protected. I thought that was great. And they also got Garrett Temple and Tomas Stamkos, and they got Garrett Temple on a new deal. And I really like that because Stamkos gives them a backup point guard, which they needed, who's 6'7", so you can play point guard, small forward, or shooting guard, really. And Garrett Temple is a great 3-and-D guy, even though he's a little older. And Devontae Graham could really be their starting point guard or their sixth man. I love that idea. Then you got Nicholas Batum. I gave C+ on this because Batum was a guy they needed to bring back, and they got him on a 2-year deal. But they could have gone and got more depth guys, which they needed is a lot of shooting and defense and perimeter players. But they only made one move. Then you got over here my man Torrey Craig, who replaces Jakar Sampson, who is the Costco version of Torrey Craig. So they upgraded right there, and I love the idea of Sabonis being used kind of like Dirk Nowitzki, Miles Turner used as a modern day Tyson Chandler, and then you have, I think it was like really, I think it was just a really good deal. My girlfriend just texted me her dog's sick, and he just got home from the hospital, so I'm happy. And they brought back TJ McConnell, so I really like Torrey Craig right there being the backup small forward, power forward. And I really like what the Denver Nuggets did. They brought back Austin Rivers, so now they have Monte Morris, Austin Rivers, PJ Dozier, Bones Highland, all there waiting till Jamal Murray gets back, and then they'll just be really deep at shooting guard. And wait, I lied. Did they bring Bones Highland? They drafted Joshua Primo. Bones Highland was not drafted by the 76. No, he plays for Denver Nuggets. Never mind, he is on the Nuggets. Okay, that's what I thought. I don't know why I said Joshua Primo. Primo was with the Spurs. Bones Highland was with the Nuggets. I had in my mock draft Primo going there. But they bring back Will Barton, and they get Jeff Green, who's a great offensive. You know, he can play power forward and small forward. JaMychal Green's more of a power forward, small ball center. And I love that idea of the second unit. Monte Morris, Facundo Campazzo, Austin Rivers, PJ Dozier, you know, Jeff Green, JaMychal Green, Vlatko Kankar, if Bol can play. I really like that. Bones Highland. And the Hornets didn't do anything today. All they did was traded and got a first-round pick. So I'm surprised they didn't go out and get themselves a center. And that's why I gave them a B, because they got a first-round pick. You can't complain at anyone for getting a first-round pick. Then I gave the Bucks Bobby Portis coming back on such a cheap deal. Give them a B. Give them a B for that at least. And then they got Sheme Ojale, who could be a good depth guy. And I wanted to give the Kings more because they were able to keep Richaun Holmes. And they got Alex Len, which I really like that with now that they also have Tristan Thompson. They're going to have a kind of a logjam at the center position, but at least they're going to somehow figure it out. And then you have, that's what they got to beat. Then you have the Brooklyn Nets. All they did was bring back Blake Griffin. Come on. There's a lot of options out there, and you guys have a lot of problems. So go fix those. And then with the next one, Gorgie Dang and Solomon Hill. Supposedly Danielle Gallinari might be moved to the Minnesota Timberwolves, but yeah, I think a B. They brought in a good backup center because they traded Bruno Fernando, and Gorgie Dang could actually also be a stretch four. And Solomon Hill, great 3-and-D wing. So yeah, that was my grades. I'd like to hear your comments down below. But that's basically it for me today, guys. Yeah, shout out Andrew Hall. I hope you're looking down from heaven, man. You left too early, man. Left too early. That's it for me.